Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday night. Gonna wait to gather some troops in here and then we'll get started. Hope everyone had a really good Monday and everybody's doing well. Hopefully, my internet, I don't know, it's been weird today. We've had a lot of storms up here, so it's been kind of crazy. But I took a little nap, surprisingly. I don't usually take many naps, so but I'm gonna wait a couple minutes, get some people in here. Since it was kind of a little last minute live, but I mean, not totally last minute. It was like an hour. But I can't really see who's in here or not. I don't know why. My phone, everything's been lagging today. But give me a hello if you're here. Now it like finally registers that people are here. Hey, Shalma. I don't know. This storm's up. Most of Pennsylvania and New York have had storms today, and it's really kind of messed up with my internet. But as promised, we do have some things that have come about in the Drexel case. The warrants have been released, and I did see them. So I will say that I know, really quick to switch gears, that Brian Laundrie's parents finally responded to the allegations and the lawsuit from the Petitos. I have not really looked at it. I know Alex Erickson just did a live on that, so definitely hop over and watch that. As I expected, they claim they've not done anything wrong. It was their right to be silent, and that obviously that they didn't know anything. So, I mean, it's kind of what I expected. I think that it's going to get very ugly in that whole situation. So, I mean, uglier than it already is. And it's probably going to be a really long legal process, and it's just crazy. So I know Alex just did a live about that here a little bit ago. But anyways, on to Brittany Drexel and Raymond Moody and the warrants that were released by the solicitor this afternoon. So according to the solicitor, Brittany Drexel was killed on April 25th, 2009, as we expected. It says on or around. She was killed at South Santee River in South Carolina. Her body was buried April 26th, where Raymond was actually stopped on a traffic violation. She was buried on Old Town Avenue, which was 2.5 miles from where he lived at a motel at that time. The distance between the Santee River South and Old Town Avenue, I checked, was 48 minutes. The distance between Myrtle Beach, where Brittany was taken, and Santee River South is 1 hour and 43 minutes. So he drove quite a distance with her before. It is saying that the murder took place at the South Santee River. So he drove quite a while with her before he got her to the location. Her phone last pinged in North Santee River. So, in fact, it was pretty much the location that everything happened at. Good evening, Unpopular Opinion. And if anybody comes in a little bit late and is like, I need you to start again, I can do a quick overview. So, again, he traveled quite a distance with her. How far away part was the time she went missing in the time? So, Mo, yeah, it wasn't long because they are saying it happened on or around April 25th. She disappeared. Her last text with her boyfriend was 9:15. that night. So if you know, probably a few hours or so. I mean, if you figure it took him an hour and 48, it said, to be exact, an hour and 43 minutes, most likely 2 hours, it said, to get to the location he murdered her in. And then the next day he buried her near where he lived. He was arrested on May. So there's a few interesting things. He was arrested on May 4th. That was 5 days after they searched his house of 2022. He's been named a suspect, like I said before, in 2012, but they didn't have enough information to, arrest him or whatever. Timothy Taylor, the one that they originally changed their whole theory to because of this Taquan Brown in 2016, he has asked the FBI, his attorney has, for an apology, and the FBI has not done that yet, but the FBI has confirmed he is not a suspect in any way, shape, or form anymore. Anyways, Raymond Moody, what we know about Raymond Moody is that in 1983, he was sentenced to 21 years in prison for assaulting, I'll call it, 7 children, girls from the ages of 5 and 17. One of which, an 8-year-old, he kidnapped and assaulted her. She escaped and helped identify him by a sticker that he had on his vehicle. He is a former military. He had a military sticker on his vehicle. This 8-year-old happened to be able to identify it. That's how he was arrested. He's a level 3, which is like I think it's one of the highest, if it's the highest you can go. He moved to South Carolina in 2004, shortly after he was released, with his male lover, who he met in prison by the name of Ernie. I think it's Merchant or whatever. Ernie is allegedly not surprised. He said that Moody claims that he had an alcoholic mother and a violent father. And when Ernie once asked Moody why he does these things, he said he's had this in his mind for a really long time, and it just got to a point where it built up and he couldn't control it anymore. That's a bunch of BS. And that's why he hurt those girls. His male lover and him broke up when Moody started dating a woman and wanted to party, apparently. He is a person of interest in the Crystal Souls 2005 criminal case. Hey, Tia. Good to see you. He is 7 babies, Mo. 7 babies. And out of prison. He served 21 years of his 40-year sentence. He is now suspected, I believe he's a person of interest in many. And things are going to come, I think a lot's going to come out. Interestingly enough, his charges, as I was looking at them, are filed in Georgetown County, where she was found and where she was killed. I did not know if Horry County, that's a weird name, I think that's how you said it, in South Carolina, is actually where Myrtle Beach was. So I didn't know if, hey, Michelle K., if that is in fact where the charges, he would also get charges of kidnapping in there. But they said, yes, she was taken from there, but she was held against her will and everything in Georgetown County. So the charges are murder and aggravated sexual battery. So I was looking up the difference between them both. Aggravated sexual battery is because of like the physically keeping her, and basically the kidnapping. Charged with kidnapping, and he is charged with obstruction of justice. That was the original charge that he brought him in on, was concealing basically her body and attempting to conceal the evidence. We don't exactly know what yet that led the police at this point to him. enough that they got a warrant to search his house on the 29th of April. But it's definitely enough that they can say with 100% certainty that it was him. Crystal Souls, the girl that was taken when she was 28, the similarities are super close to Brittany's, and both sets of parents, well, at least Crystal's mom and Brittany's parents, are pretty close now. And so, just it's hard on Crystal's mom though, because they have closure and she still doesn't. So I'm hoping with this, there is some closure. Raymond Moody's got 3 children and was married at one point. They have not, I don't believe, to the best of my knowledge, haven't spoken to his ex or any of his children. I am going to guess, hey, Cotton Candy, that he doesn't have any communication with any of them. Yeah, the probable Cosmo, they haven't said that, and they said they're not releasing that yet. So I'm not sure about that yet. I'm imagining now. They did say that Brittany's cause of death was manual strangulation, but that was based off of this initial autopsy. They said it could be several weeks before they have an actual official, scope of actually everything that went down and occurred and official cause of death. But that's what it looks to be now. They do believe that she did put up a fight, which I guess didn't surprise people, because they said if you knew her, I don't know. The interesting part to me is that he drove an hour and 43 minutes to do it, and then 48 minutes in the opposite direction to bury her. Like the burying doesn't surprise me, because that is where, like he lived two miles from there. But going another, hour and 43 minutes at least out of your way makes me wonder if like it was part of his signature, if that makes sense. Because Crystal's last known whereabouts were somewhere in that vicinity, they said. So you almost have to wonder, okay, was this one of his signatures? That did someone random find her body, or did tips? No, Mo, no one actually. Something that we don't know yet. We're not exactly sure what, but the caused law enforcement to have a search warrant executed on April 29th of his house. And when they left there, 5 days later, he was arrested. So something in there they found. I don't know if then he talked, and because they seemed to know right where to look after that point, in this wooded area within 3 miles of his home. So, but it does make me wonder how many people he's hurt at that spot. So I mean, maybe it was just because the river was more isolated. I don't know. They haven't said anything like how he kidnapped her or anything like that at this point. But I can be pretty confident in saying this is not his only crime here, and is not the only thing we're going to find out about. But I guess for me, how do you ever get out of prison? I understand, but we're not talking one child that he assaulted and kidnapped. We're talking 7 by 1983. Maybe the laws are stricter now. I'm not really sure, but he really should have never seen the light of day again. And he did. And because of that, a girl is dead, and who knows how many others he's hurt. So pretty much that's all we know about Raymond. That's what the search warrants, or that's what the warrants executed said. Everything was pretty cut and dry at this point. Exactly, Mo. People spend longer time than that for drugs. It will be interested. I do not know at this point if Timothy Taylor, the one that was accused, has a case that he could sue. I don't know how that looks when somebody's like wrongfully accused of something. But in fairness, I mean, he's been in and out of prison, so I mean, he's done other things. But in fairness, he was accused of a very vicious crime that he didn't commit, and is no longer a suspect in because of this Taquan Brown lying several times. Interestingly enough, Tim Taylor did take a polygraph test, and when he did, he actually ended up failing that test in regards to Brittany Drexel. But like I said, law enforcement today, the FBI said he is not at all a suspect in this case anymore. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how the guy was out of jail. I don't know how he can just relocate and carry on with his life. And I've been trying to look up too why he only has like one eye, because the one eye is closed all the time. So the story, she was held and trafficked. Yes, Mo. Yes. To the best of my knowledge, yes, that's law enforcement has said Raymond Moody is the suspect and the sole suspect of who kidnapped her and is responsible for her death and assault. I think that this Brown guy, in my opinion, I'd have to go back and look, but I think this Brown guy and this Timothy Taylor probably had some beef. Taquan thought, hey, I'm going to get back at him. I'm going to say this. I saw him with a woman that looked like blah, blah, blah. And then that's how it. So, yeah, that now has been debunked. And law enforcement today has said that he is not a suspect now. So, I mean, I can't. So, like I said, Timothy Taylor's lawyer has asked for an apology. FBI has not issued that yet. But I can't say if I'm Timothy Taylor, I wouldn't be a little bit ticked off. So, it's just a really tragic situation. And I don't know, because then you've got to look at other cases. Heather Elvis, Crystal Souls. Somebody said, was he near Alabama? Could he have been part of Shayna Peoples? I mean, that's like, that's a stretch, but you really have to now go back and look at all of these girls that have gone missing around this time period between 2004 and 2022. Is he potentially a suspect in these? I mean, he had a wooded area, right? 2.5 miles from his house. So are they going to find other girls there? I mean, he's bold enough to take a girl, Brittanee, off the strip of Myrtle Beach. Now, we know that Myrtle Beach is, it's a rough area if you're walking down the strip at night. But you would think people would have seen him take her. So how did he lure her into the car? How did he, the whole logistics of that, we don't know yet, and we might not ever know. But what I do question is why he was ever out in the first place. I know that Crystal's mom said this gives her hope again that they might find Crystal. I do know that Crystal, her mom said that she was involved had lost her way in drugs and whatnot. So, it's a little different than Brittanee, but I don't know at this point. It's just all crazy. And he was definitely a evil man. And according to this Ernie, his prison dude that moved with him and stuff, that he, like I said, he wasn't surprised at all that Raymond had done something like this. And I'm just thinking, oh my goodness. It's just crazy to think of him driving around looking for the perfect victim, I mean, is that his MO? Does he just, I don't know. What are y'all thoughts on it? Do you think this was a signature for him? Do you think he spent a lot of time on the strip, and he may have, and we're going to find a lot more victims that he may have taken and done this to, or assaulted, or, do you think it's just her and that's it? I'm just curious. Yeah, so do I, Mo. I mean, it's just like Robbie said earlier, like that's so much time for a crazed killer like we know he was. Gunner, me too. That is exactly what Gunner 6. That's exactly what I'm curious for, because people, and even Brittany's mom said, and her best friend said, Brittany was a fighter. Like, I mean, getting her in the car would have been pretty difficult to begin with. Um, and doing so on a strip of Myrtle Beach where there's, I mean, we're not just talking like a random time either. We're talking like spring break type of time for schools and stuff. Um, isn't an easy task. So, I mean, I would think that would be one thing that's going to have to be addressed, and that I'd want to know for sure that somebody else wasn't involved, because it doesn't make sense how this old dude got her in the car at all. Unless she just happened to be on a side street. I don't know. It said she was taken right from the strip, so I don't know. So what I need to do is get a map out between the hotels where they say she was allegedly taken, and see, if there's a spot in there. I don't know. I just don't see it happening, because she could have ran anything. That's definitely the question. And just the location for me. Why go that far in the opposite direction to do the crime? And then, well, the other thing, I mean, I would think that he bound her or something to keep her still in the car, because he traveled an hour and 43 minutes. It's just interesting to me that they made it all that way in the opposite direction, and then he cut back over to where he lives to bury her. I mean, that part doesn't confuse me as much as the distance and the location, which makes me think he might have some sort of a signature. But there's no way he traveled an hour and 43 minutes with her and didn't have some form of way to keep her still. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So that was part of me that thought, okay, well, was she taken by somebody else and then trafficked and this happened? But there was such a short time period, and her phone pinged, like, I don't know. It's also, it's sad, and I think there's questions we're not going to get answers to, unfortunately, but I mean, something that they know or heard gave them reason enough to execute a quick search warrant and get in there. And I do know that Brittany's mom had hired a private investigator as well. So, I mean, they haven't stopped working on this. Part of why they haven't stopped working on it is, I mean, I think because she happened to have parents that weren't going to stop working on it either. Oh, Sherry, they did. Yeah, there's no question in my mind that he killed her. My question is how he did certain things and why he did certain things, and um who else he has hurt along the way. So, but I know I'm going to do some lighter lives. It's been really heavy lately, but there's been some really, bad true crime stuff happening lately. I haven't even had a chance to look at the Buffalo case even today, because I've been focused on this in the press conference. And like I said, Brittany J has more like logistics and is going to like look around down there and stuff, kind of answer some questions for me. But I know everybody likes light lives at time, and I'll get there. I feel like there's some things that have need to be addressed as far as in the true crime community. Um, as far as true crime itself, that I want to talk about more than I want to talk about any drama in this YouTube, because in my opinion, it's all just crazy right now. Um, so anyways, all right, y'all. Well, I just wanted to tell you kind of what the update we have as far as what we learned about Raymond, and could he have drove somewhere and buried her? He did. He drove an hour and 43 minutes to South Santee River, where he committed the crime, and then drove 48 minutes over to Old Town Ave, which is 2.5 miles from where he lives, and buried her there the next day. So, all right. Well, I will talk to y'all tomorrow. This is going to be a short live, but thanks everybody for tuning in. And if you have any questions or whatever, shoot me an email, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks. Bye.